brought to you by the Heritage Collective and Renacimiento, Manila. When you say Divisoria, it's not really a district. In the midst of these three districts, Tondo, Binondo, and San Nicolas, there is a place in between those districts that's called Divisoria. And so our next stop would be this place called LR Aguinaldo Department Store. It's a heritage building along Juan Luna Street. LR Aguinaldo came from this guy. His name is Leopoldo R. Aguinaldo. He's one of those parang from rags to riches na mga merchants. The one shown here is what they call the Aladdin lamp. Aladdin lamp is parang like a status symbol, especially in the regions. If you have those lamps that were bought at LR Aguinaldo, it shows your status, especially in the regions if you have those lamps. Especially as you compare to your neighbors, if you don't have these kinds of lamps, you haven't been to Manila and all those things. Okay? And what's the most important feature of that building? These ones. In between those columns along in the buildings, there are statues. Lady Liberty, Andres Bonifacio, Josephine Franco. Maybe us is the owner now. It's no longer the Aguinaldo. It's now owned by a Chinoy, Robert Roller. It's still rentable.
Ayun yung iba, kala.
Try to appreciate it.
Emro, amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, this is how it looks like. Mas marami na mga. Our next stop would be a bridge, a Spanish colonial period called Basic. Okay, so can we go together? I'll go on the sidewalk. Let's go together.
Ayun yun yata yung bridge papuntang Lucky Chinatown.
Ay, oo.
So, we're now here in this area called Basic, M-E-I-S-I-C. Basic came from the word may itching. Within the district of Binondo, there's a barrio called Basic, and this is the area. As you can see, pero basically, what's the importance of this bridge, as you can see here, this was taken way back 1830s and it's still there, right?
Ah, yun na din pala mismo yun.
Oo nga, no?
Do you see it? Then,
Oh!
I would dare say this could perhaps be the oldest structure in Binondo. So this photo here, and then just keep through that. You can see the basic bridge. At least circa 1830s. It's been there. Okay? I would dare say again, it could be the oldest structure here in Binondo.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay ba kayo?
Yes.
I'm learning so far. Pero palang bridge dito, dinaanan natin.
Ganda pala niya sa likod.
Okay.
Naunahang McDo truck. Galing ah.
The structure here, it's called Yongse Academy. It has a national historical marker. This is basically the first Chinese school in the Philippines, circa 1899, alongside the development of the education system provided here by the Americans. So, at the start of their classes, they would sing the Philippine national anthem, first of all. Second would be the Taiwanese national anthem. And they memorize it by heart. The original name of Yongse Academy, Anglo-Chinese School. In short. Okay, but bakit tayo nandito? Okay, sila yung nagpasimula ng mga champoy-champoy na yan. Yan, sila talaga. So, yan yung mga champoy na yan, mga dry food, dito, Wasan. Okay? This is the original Paypakwa lozenges. Ito nakalagay, Paypakwa lozenges, fat and thin. This is like their English branding here for this shop. Fat and thin. So, exclusively distributed by Wasan One Food Mart, Santa Elena Street, Binondo, Manila. So, the ones that you are having right now, those came from Taiwan. So, sila exclusively nag-distribute this up. Again, still run by the third generation Pinay factory. Therefore, this is heritage of Divisoria. This structure here is a post-war building around 1940s and 1950s. Ang katawan ni Cristo, ang Howflakes.
Uy, hopefully.
Howflakes. The jumbo version.
Laki.
Okay. Flakes na may
Wait pa. Our next stop would be a place called Yanko Market. Have you heard of that? This is the building along Ilaya Street. Ang Yanko Market, basically style niya, you get to see rows of buildings underneath it at the ground floor. Parang meron siyang mundo sa loob. I still haven't pinpointed the actual date when it was established by the Yanko family. When I say Yanko family, I'm sharing the pictures of these two. This guy, his name is Teodoro Yanko. Familiar?
Yeah.
Familiar? Who's he? Anong pagkakalam
Sa
niyo?
school kasi namin.
Ang elementary school niya, pangalan Teodoro R. Yanko.
Yes
Elementary
po.
school. Wow.
Sa Tondo.
So, Teodoro R. Yanko is basically businessman. General merchandise, yun yung talagang trabaho nila. The local products are all in Yanko market. Used to be the resident commissioner to the United States. When you say resident commissioner, you're the highest ranking official coming from the Philippines, but you represent the Philippines in the United States. The father of Teodoro Yanko, his name is Luis R. Yanko. Ang tawag sa kanya, the king of Manila Bay and Pasig Bay. And they also are involved in the revolution because they are rich. They funded the revolution in 1896. In between all these streets, yung dynamics of these streets, there is history. Bakit may history? One aspect of San Nicolas, this area, and of course in extension Divisoria, this is the cradle of revolution. At when I say revolution, as in Katipunan. Are you familiar with Katipunan? Okay, Tabora, Bakarisakay, Santo Cristo Street, Andres Bonifacio. The street after Santo Cristo is El Cano. Do you know what happened there? That's the foundation site of the Katipunan. El Cano, at the corner of El Cano and Claro Emro. Ides Oraca. Ides Oraca stands for IDES Isidoro de Santos. Marcelino and Isidoro. They are father and son personalities, historical personalities. And then the best way to talk about these two historical personalities is the descendant of that line. His name is Carl De Santos. Because let's give him a hand. Carl De Santos, also member of Renacimiento, Manila.
Nagpunta rin dito si Jose Rizal minsan bago siya ma-exile sa Dakita. Nag-dinner siya kasama si Marcelino de Santos. Tapos, bago mag-exile yung pamilya ni Jose Rizal sa Hong Kong, kasi natatandaan natin na parang napapersecute na rin ang family nila. Pinatuloy ni Marcelino dyan, yung tatay siya kayong kapatid ni Jose Rizal. Si Francisco Mercado siya kasi pasyado. So siya rin yung nag-fund ng mga travel needs nila siya tickets papuntang Hong Kong. So yun. Minsan din binisita si Manuel Quezon dyan para sa advice. So si Doro naman, siya nagpatayo na. Tapos, naging congressman din siya ng District 1 ng Manila. So, sakop niya ang Salidula, si Binondo, architect ng building. Si Arthur Phillips Babler Lambert. Medyo yung family namin, hindi ko siya masasabing magulo, maayos naman. Pero sabay-sabay binahay ni Isidoro yung tatlong babae. Sabihin na Ventas Mauricio, Siciliana Eriato, Rizal, Rufina Gutierrez. Kung mapapansin niyo yung building, sa tatlong palapag na yan, sabi ng ibang family namin, tig-isang building para sa tig-isang asawa at mga anak nila. Isang floor.
Grabe, pakboy.
Si Emiliana Trinidad ang sinasabi, pininta ni Juan Luna bilang unang bulakit niya. Ito yung mga anak ni Isidoro, 18, originally 18, pero 13 yung nabuhay ng matagal. So mapapansin niyo yung mga year nila, sabay-sabay yan. Pero iba-iba yung nanay.
Okay. Hindi pa siya sa first floor, hindi pa second floor.
So, noong 1939 ng pagkamatay ni Isidoro, na-rematay yung building. Tapos, napili na ng Oraca Candy Factory. Kaya, Ides Oraca Candy Factory.
Haba naman natin si Carl. Take a look at the windows on the topmost floor. It's 13 windows representing the 13 children of Dr. Isidoro de Santos. Why this building is important? It's an iconic landmark of Divisoria. At the same time, it's a heritage building because it's built by a revolutionaryo. Again, bakit importante si Dr. Isidoro de Santos? The way I would put it, he's a doctor to the heroes. Doktor sa mga bayani. Okay, sino ba yung mga bayani na yan?
Si Juan Luna, si Manuel Quezon, Felipe Agoncillo, saka si Apolinario Mabini.
This used to be a plaza. It's called Plaza Mercado. Where we are at right now, this used to be the market. The Divisoria market was established in 1904, making it the biggest public market in Manila in 1904. And then in 1990s, they decided to demolish it, replace it with a mall like this. They call it New Divisoria Market. New, okay, new. In 2013, it got burned and then replaced by this structure that we see. Ngayon, we're gonna turn our window shopping mode off because here at this section of Carmen Plana Street, I mentioned earlier, we can buy something healthy. When I say healthy, we can buy fruits.
Healthy.
Elpo, it used to be a shoe store. So Elpo, short for El Porvenir, which means the future. So yung instruction na yan, well, El Porvenir was established in 1933. So 1930s. It could be the shoe store was established in 1933. The structure is latter years back. Yeah, while waiting, why Divisoria? To divide. Historically speaking, to divide the Spaniards from the Chinese, the Renacimiento.
Sabi ni Lord, mainit ba? Wait lang, paulan mo na ako. Mainit yun.
Ay, cute yan. Yung hand-painted na signage na yan. It's been there for quite some time. Alam mo yung kabalaro.
Ayun yung kauna-unahang hulaan.
Kahit mo na ba dati?
Super luma na.
Tagal na yun nandyan. We consider it as parang lost art na.
Bago pa dumating si Hans Kua, ayan.
Okay. Bago pa naging Hans Kua, meron po tayo Ming Leo.
Tayo kay Hans.
No, Ming Leo.
Ming Leo.
Isa pala sa mga famous na products na Elmo, yung mga rubber shoes. And
Yeah.
specifically parang Converse na sapatos na gawang Pilipinas. Meron silang at World War II inspired. They died with their shoes on.
With their shoes on. It stays there.
Na nag-supply sila ng sapatos dun sa Commonwealth Forces dito.
Yeah, imagine, from the first cry of the Rintabak to the battleground of Bataan. Diba? Sumuko na ang Bataan, pero ang sapatos ng Elpo hindi sumusuko. Panalo. Ganda ng tagline. The church. As you can see, maybe if you'll see the structure, there are stairs leading up to the church. Structure is elevated, basically. They suspect that if you see Dolly over there, it's already Manila Bay. Because that before, with regard to the veneration of the Holy Child or Santo Niño, the Tondo, there used to be fluvial procession. So this structure that you see here, the one there, at least the shell dates back to the Spanish colonial period around 1874 to 1880s. That's the range of the construction of the shell. There are accounts that the location of that church, that was also the location of the palace of the last ruler of Tondo. His name is Lacandula, Santo Niño de Tondo. It's basically the second oldest Catholic image in the Philippines, dating back 1572, Santo Niño de Tondo. The head is made out of ivory and some parts of it. It was said that it was stolen in the 1970s, and then there was a typhoon, or there was a storm that ravaged the whole metropolis because the skies are crying because Santo Niño de Tondo got stolen, something like that. And then eventually, it showed up all of a sudden in Malacanang Palace with the president and the first lady showing to people. We got the image back with us. Okay, that's a story. there are some more fishy stories. I won't go through.
So who is Amado V. Hernandez? So Amado V. Hernandez is a native Tondo, came from Tondo, and he is a journalist. He was a writer. Now, during the Second World War, he was part of the resistance, those who stood up while the Japanese occupied the lowlands and decided to go to the mountains to fight. He joined the Mukbong Bayan Laban sa Hapon, which was led by a coalition of which bahagi or part was the Communist Party of the Philippines, known as the PKP, the Partido Komunista ng Pilipinas. And while there, he became exposed to socialist ideas and socialist ideology. And that would color much of his works. No? His attention towards the working man, especially in the location where he grew up, Tondo. So after the war, he became leader of the Labor Federation, the Congress of Labor organization. But during the 1950s, there was a Red Scare, like in the United States. No, everything progressive was dubbed communist. And although there was nothing that connected him strongly to the Communist Party of the Philippines, he was arrested. He was arrested without charges during the rule of Quirino. Only later did the charges appear, because that's actually illegal. You can't be arrested like that. So he was arrested, and while in prison, he would write a large body of work, from short stories to poetry. He then challenged his arrest, because his charges were multiple. Murder, arson, everything. Basically, the government just slapped all the charges to ensure that he won't get out of prison. So he challenged that. And eventually, the Supreme Court ruled in his favor that first and foremost, all these acts that were being blamed on him are acts committed during a rebellion. So the charge of rebellion alone will suffice. No, you all don't have to put all of these charges, because that goes against the principle of fairness. And then his arrest was also deemed eventually illegal because of the charges. It was loose. It was really not much evidence in terms of his arrest. And then he was released on bail. And eventually, the charges were dropped. He would continue on to write until the 1960s. He would live on to see the nationalist resurgence of the 1960s and until his death in the 1970s. Then he was posthumously awarded as National Artist for Literature. On the far end of that plaza, there's a sign there, a quote from one of his poems. So basically, it's a panata sa kalayaan. So engraved on the monument there is the last line. At kahit na nilakitlin ng buhay ko't biyakin ang bungo, sa bungo ko'y nakalimpag pa rin sa sariwang dugo. Pilipino akong sa pambubusagos ay hindi susuko. Ayan. There's even another line there that says, laban sa tirano, di ba kabanalan ang paghihimagsik? It is just to fight or resist. The area of Divisoria, San Nicolas, and Tondo, you get the story of the revolution against the Spaniards, resistance against the Americans, and then the continuing struggle for social justice under the present republic. So that, I think, for my part, encapsulates the journey that we had from Binondo, San Nicolas to